Coming on here a couple of minutes early with the idea that a few of you will join shortly. So it is 1 minute to 5 o'clock. I'm getting the system down here now, so it takes a little bit for people to get on the line. I could tell a joke, but I'm gonna pass on that idea because you never know. You never know. You never know. So how's everybody doing out there? Hey, this is Neil Palache with the Wealth Creator Company for Women. And I am here on the west coast of California. And it has been a hot one today. I don't know quite how hot, but I'm going to say it's been in the 90s. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. No complaining. Yes, thank you, Rob. Thank you. I love it. Hey, listen, when you got people out there calling you handsome, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So, I sent out a Facebook post and, of course, my mailing list and so on and so forth, and I can see a few people coming on that have particular interest in this subject. So I want the subject being real estate. So that was my email today, and that was my message today. Let's talk about real estate. Now, to be clear, I don't sell real estate, and I'm not a real estate expert per se, but I am surrounded by people that are, and when my clients are in need, which they often are, then I will talk to those folks, get them to their seminars, get them to their offices and so forth, and hopefully get them involved in some of the deals that are out there. So let's just talk about this briefly for the next 10, 12, 15 minutes. And then I'm just telling you right now that I have connections with some of the most amazing people in the marketplace, which is one of the reasons why I am talking about this today, because I have to say that it hasn't been until recently that I've had some of these connections, and it really is mind-blowing what's going out there in the marketplace. So I know that all of you know that interest rates, for instance, are particularly good currently in the real estate market. If you're buying a residence, if you've got decent credit, if you're not borrowing huge amounts of money, but even when you are, you can get loans out there for less than 4%. If you're doing home equity line type loans, some of those are less than 2%, at least from the get-go, although they do go up a little bit from there, and then they're tied to prime. But 3.5% is not unusual, certainly 3.75%, and I've seen it go down almost close to 3%. And if you're doing a 15-year fixed mortgage, even in the 2s, I mean, some of the rates out there are amazing. I heard the other day that there is a new, I think it is through one of the government agencies that now provides for some kind of matching. You put down 1% and they'll put down 1 or 2% or add 1 or 2% to the deal, and you can get yourself a starter home. Now, I believe that those loans have to be under $417,000. But nevertheless, if you can find a starter home, which, by the way, is very difficult in the area that I live in, you'll be lucky if you can find anything under $500,000 where I live, and in many places in Southern California. But that is not true everywhere, and there's certainly places in Southern California that have some very good deals and have some very good property prices, is what I should say. So think about what you can do in that area. Think about getting your first home. Think about getting a starter home. But let's just talk about investing for a minute, because this is kind of, I was talking to a fella this afternoon, and I'll be happy to give you his name, and we were talking a little bit about real estate investing and some of the things that he's doing. And it's just mind-blowing to me, some of the deals that are available in the marketplace today. And some of these fellas, some of these people, men and women, are putting together partnerships and LLCs where you can invest your money but not invest 100% of what is needed for that deal, right? In other words, if there's a property that's, $1 million, you're not coming up with $1 million. maybe you're coming up with 50,000 or 100,000. Maybe you want to think about, excuse me there a minute. Boy, did I have an itchy nose. I know that you needed to know that. But maybe you are simply sitting there, for instance, with even some IRA money. Many people do not know that they can invest in real estate with their IRA money. Look, there's plus and minuses to doing that. There's advantages and disadvantages to doing that. But you can have a truly self-directed IRA, and you can invest in real estate. And most people don't know that. And so and I'm not suggesting that you ought to sell all your stocks and bonds and cash and go and invest it all in real estate. I'm just saying that you may be able to do some of it in real estate and have further diversification. And this is an important thing to understand. And although, my friends out there in the investment world are probably not going to love what I'm about to tell you, when you go over to some of these places that do money management and sell investments of one kind or another, manage your money, and they do a great job, but real estate is not generally part of their portfolio. You've got to go to a real estate investor for that. Just as gold is not necessary, they're not going to sell you bullion either, and you can put gold and silver and all sorts of things, inside that IRA. And you ought to take advantage of that if it works for you. Now, I always say at the end of any sentence where I'm saying you might want to think about doing this, I always say if it works for you. Because this is not, and this is what drives me mad about some of these so-called gurus on the radio and television that tell you to do things as if it's going to work for the 50 million people that they're talking to. And that isn't the case. You've got to make sure that what you're doing makes sense for you. You've got to make sure that the type of risk that is involved in that investment makes sense for you, that the amount of money that you are investing in that investment makes sense for you, that the vehicle that it's being invested in and being invested by is right for you. So, for those of you who are out there on Facebook Live, apparently I'm having a little bit of a problem here. I do see a little bit of a lag as I'm even looking at it. So hopefully that is going to resolve itself pretty quickly. I've got a fairly good internet connection here, so I'm hoping that's not an ongoing problem. My apologies. So when you're looking at these real estate deals, what I want to tell you with regard to that is this also. There are deals all over the place. So when you're looking in your backyard, yes, those deals are there. But when you want to look at the entire United States, you could be looking internationally, of course, but I'm not so sure I would recommend that as an investment, although you might want to buy some kind of vacation property in another country. But from an investment perspective, you have some fantastic opportunities right here in the United States. I have a friend who's been doing real estate investing in New Jersey and Florida, and others who have been doing investing in Texas and other states across the country, and of course California. The fellow that I was talking to this afternoon said he's coming up my end. He's going to come look in Oxnard and Camarillo, and there's a couple of properties that he's interested in there, and he's building his own portfolio. So there are some amazing opportunities, and you've got to take a slightly different view on how that might work for you, because just, for instance, going and buying a property yourself, let's say, and taking 100% of the risk on a residential piece of real estate, and being the landlord and dealing with all of that possible difficulty and challenges may not be for you. Now, on the other hand, I know people that own 10, 20, 30 single-family properties, and they are happy as a pig in you-know-what, and they're collecting the rent, and they've reduced their mortgage, their overhead, and they've got positive passive income, and they're loving it. I've got other people that will say to me, I don't want to be a landlord. I don't want to be responsible for fixing toilets and getting a phone call anytime something goes wrong. And stuff does go wrong, and you can hire a management company to handle that stuff for you, but that costs money. So you've got to make a decision as to whether that makes sense. You're probably going to spend 8 to 10 to 12% of the rental income to do that. So you have to make a decision as to whether that makes a great deal of sense for you. But certainly single-family residences can be very, very attractive. On the other hand, you can get involved on the other side, or at the other end of the spectrum, if you will, real estate spectrum, in REITs, real estate investment trusts. And that's where you can just invest a relatively small amount of money, get a fixed return. Your money is going to be illiquid for a certain amount of time, but there are some very good REITs out there that have a good history. Those you can get from quite a number of independent advisors, and those are more likely to be sold through regular channels. At regular, I mean the brokerage houses and that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of private REITs out there. There are people that are putting together real estate deals all the time, private and public. And sometimes the only way that you find out about them is because somebody tells you about somebody who tells you about somebody. Because they're not exactly going to be investing millions of dollars on primetime television telling you about it the way that some of the large brokerage houses are doing. So you want to make sure that you're doing your networking. If you're really interested in doing real estate investment, what I would probably do, in fact, what I've done is I will jump on Meetup. Now, I've been told about a couple of Meetups, so I've got a little bit of an advantage. But a couple of the people that I know that are doing these real estate investment seminars are doing them through Meetup, or at least are promoting them through Meetup. They're all over the country. They're certainly all over the Los Angeles area, if this is where you are, but they are all over the country. The fellow that I spoke to this afternoon just came back from doing a class in Florida, I'm going to say. I think it was Florida. But nevertheless, they're happening everywhere, all the time. I know that there's a fairly substantial one going on next Saturday. There's a crowdfunding deal going on Thursday night. I mean, there's stuff. You could go to a meeting. Well, you can go to a meeting 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, every day of the week, 7 days a week. So there's no lack of meetings. But if you want to look for specific real estate related meetings where you can really learn about real estate and not just be sold on some deal, and I don't, spend $5,000 with us and we will teach you how to flip houses. I mean, I don't know, guys. I'm not so sure that that's the best kind of thing that you want to get involved in. But if you know people that have done it, and you've got some references, and you've got some successes that you know about that are real, then I would say okay. And if you're willing to put in the work that is necessary to put that 200-page binder into practice, go for it. But there's also some seminars and meetup groups and different kinds of smaller outfits that will really help you through the entire process. They're investing in the real estate deals with you so that you know that their money's on the hook as well as yours. And please do not forget, or let me say that differently, please remember that regardless of how good a deal looks, there is no such thing as a sure thing. Real estate things can go bad, and real estate deals can be amazingly positive. So when you get into a deal, understand what your downside risk is and make sure that you can handle it if that happens. Hopefully you're working with somebody that has a really, really good track record, but even that does not provide an absolute guarantee of success. Now, we know that in every market, good or bad, there are winners and losers. I mean, it's just the way it is. In 2008, when the real estate market went in the toilet, There were thousands, hundreds of thousands, I'm not really sure, millions of people that lost enormous amounts of value in their homes, lost their homes completely, maybe. I know it was a mess. But the fact of the matter is that at the same time, there were thousands or hundreds of thousands of people, and I understand that some of them were large investment companies and banks, but there were many, many, many people picking up those deals. And that's just kind of the way it is. It is going to be a buyer's market when the market goes down like that, and somebody is going to pick up those homes. And unfortunately, the people who lost their homes are going to feel it in the pocket. But they lost those homes anyway. You understand that? I mean, I get a little tired of people saying that these people who bought these properties kind of stole them from under the feet, if you will, of these poor people who lost their homes. It's sad, but those buyers did not cause that problem. They just kind of swooped in and took advantage of it, but I don't think in a bad way, no differently than if a stock price went down dramatically, that there are people that are buying it at the low and selling it at the high, even though most of us do it the other way around. So I would say to you again, look at real estate, but look at it a little differently. I understand that most of us are in contact with, let's say, a residential real estate agent, and fabulous people. They do a fabulous job, but I think that if you're looking to invest, you want to ask different questions. And if that residential real estate agent is involved, is knowledgeable in how and when to invest in the residential real estate market, that's great, and that's a person you can work with. If that person is simply in the business of buying and selling homes for people that are living in them, that's a different deal. That's a different knowledge base. And so you may want to find someone that knows about investing in real estate, because it's a very, very different mindset. So take that into consideration. Commercial is the same thing. You've got folks out there that specialize in rentals, industrial, commercial office space, retail. There's all sorts of things going on out there. So find the type of person that you need to work with for the type of investment deal that you're looking to put together. Again, this isn't you leasing a space for your business. This is you investing in a space which hopefully somebody else will lease, that will then make you money if you're going to be the owner or part owner of that building. So it's a very different type of a view when you're looking at it from the standpoint of a landlord versus somebody that's actually occupying the space. So look, believe it or not, that has been 17 minutes, and I don't want to take any more of your time. I know this has been a real general discussion, but it's a good one, and it's a good discussion to continue to have with people that you know and people that are in the know, so that if and when you decide you want to invest in real estate, you know who you need to see and you know what you need to do. This is Neil Palache with the Wealth Creator Company for Women. Please go to my site, Neil's Deals, NeilsDealz.com, and subscribe. You can also subscribe at thewealthcreatorcompany.com. There are different offerings on each of those sites. I appreciate your time. I hope you have a great week, and if you have any other questions, please feel free to contact me. I am all over the place on the web, easy to find. Send me an email, call me. I'm happy to help you in any way that I can. Neil Palache with the Wealth Creator Company for Women, signing off. Have a great week. Thanks, everybody.